Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another segment of Course Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation is Asa Mahalla Pehla Panchapaday, composition of the first Nanak in 5 stanzas of 2 lines each. And the recitation. Asa Mahalla Pehla Panchapaday, Dudh Bin Dhen, Pankh Bin Pankhi, Jal Bin Utpaj Kaam Nahi, Kya Sultan Salam Vihuna, Andhi Koti Tera Naam Nahi, Ki Visar Hai Dukh Bahota Lage, Dukh Lage Tu Visar Nahi. Arahau ਅੱਖੀਂ ਅੰਧ ਜੀਬ ਰਸ ਨਾਹੀ, ਕੰਨੀ ਪਵਣ ਨ ਵਾਜੈ, ਚਰਣੀ ਚਲੇ ਭਜੂਤਾ ਆਗੈ, ਵਿਣ ਸੇਵਾ ਫਲ ਲਾਗੇ, ਅੱਖਰ ਬਿਰਖ ਭਾਗ ਪੋਏ ਚੋਖੀ, ਸਿੰਚਿਤ ਪਾਉ ਕਰੇਹੀ, ਸਭਨਾ ਫਲ ਲਾਗੈ ਨਾਮ ਏਕੋ, ਬਿਨ ਕਰਮਾ ਕੈਸੇ ਲੇਹੀ, ਜੇਤੇ ਜੀ ਤੇਤੇ ਸਭੇ ਤੇਰੇ, ਵਿਣ ਸੇਵਾ ਫਲ ਕਿਸੈ ਨਾਹੀ, ਦੁੱਖ ਸੁਖ ਪਾਣਾ ਤੇਰਾ ਹੋਵੈ, ਵਿਣ ਨਾਵੇਂ ਜਿਉ ਰਹੇ ਨਾਹੀ, ਮਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਰਨ ਜੀਵਨ ਹੋਰ ਕੈਸਾ, ਜਾਂ ਜੀਵਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਜੁਗਤੀ ਨਾਹੀ, ਕਹੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਵਾਲੇ ਜੀ, ਜਹ ਭਾਵੈ ਤਹ ਰਾਖ ਤੁਹੀ. Guru Nanak is reminding us by giving us various examples on functioning as we are designed to function, which is by recognizing our authentic natures, our innate nature, which is the self, Har. So he gives us the example of a dry cow, Dudh Bin Dhen, of a bird without feathers, Pankh Bin Pankhi, of land without water, Jal Bin Utbhaj Kaam Nahi. All of these things are of no use. In other words, they're dysfunctional because they are not doing what they're intended to do. And he goes on, Kya Sultan Salam Vihuna, what kind of a sovereign who doesn't have authority? So, having given us these examples, he reminds us that a mind that has not the light of self-knowledge in it is like a dark chamber. Andhi koti tera naam nahi. Again, dysfunctional. It's of no use. Ki visara dukh bahta lage. I know not what intemperance on my part has caused this forgetfulness, this separation from the self. Ki visara Dukh bahta lage. All I know is that it has brought great sorrow to me. And then a reminder, Dukh lage, tu visar nahi. When I forget my true nature, my true function, it brings the pain of separation. So please do not forget your authentic self. An eye that lacks sight, a tongue that cannot taste, ears that cannot hear, akhi and jeeb ras nahi, kanni pavan na vajay. Another set of examples. Charani chale pajuta aage, feet that cannot support the body. Vin seva phal lage, he says. All of this is the outcome of not being functional. Vin seva phal na lage. Seva is to serve, To serve means to actually do what you're intended to do, servitude. We are in servitude to our function, and our function is to recognize our authentic nature and to act out of it. And then he gives us an example. Akkar birakh bhag poe chokhi sinchit pao karehi. Akkar birakh, the tree of sabad. Akkar is that which does not fade away and is a reference to the word as in Shabad, the creator. So birakh is tree, Baag is garden, Poe is ground, Chokhi, expanse. So the tree of Shabad, now this is a metaphor, grows in the heart of the in the garden of the heart of Baag Poe Chokhi, when it is irrigated with love. And this is done in the ground soil of the mind. When the mind is irrigated with love of the word of Sabad, then it grows like a tree and it flowers in self-knowledge. Sabna phala lagay naam eko, the flower of self-knowledge can blossom in every heart. Sabna phal lagay. Bin karma kaise lahi. How can one attract? How can it flower without attracting grace? So the flower of self-knowledge, the Guru says, can blossom in every heart, provided one's actions can attract grace, like a magnet, gravitational pull of the self. So there is a responsibility on our side of the equation, right? So grow the tree of the word. In other words, grow sabad. Enlighten the mind. Irrigate the mind's soil with wisdom, the tree of wisdom. And on the tree of wisdom is the fruit of self-knowledge, the flower of self-knowledge. This is the flowering of the mind and the heart. That is how we do it, with love, with devotion. Ji jete ji tete sabbe tere. As many as life forms exist, everything, that is to say, they all originate in you. Sabbe tere, meaning they belong to you, that they originate from in you, they come out of you. Vin seva phala kise nahi. Without serving their given function, they cannot be fruitful. They cannot achieve that fruit. This is another way of saying kise nahi, no one. So in other words, there is no bias, there's no prejudice. Each one of us has to do our bit. Dukh sukh pana tera hove. Dukh sukh, adversity and comfort, up and down of life, are ordained by divine will. They come and go. We don't have control over everything. We've got to recognize that. Vinaname jio rahe nahi. Without developing its innate qualities, a life form cannot serve its purpose. So for all intents and purposes, it's dead. Rahe nahi. There's no point. And then, in conclusion, mat vich maran, within the mind, die to the ego. Maran is to die to the ego. Dying to the ego means to transmute the ego, to transform it, to change it, so that it is not recognizable anymore. Because that alone, when you do that, jivan ho kaisa, jivan, that equates to coming alive. It's the awakening of the mind. Jivan ho kaisa, there can be no living other than dying to the ego. To live in the ego is to live without purpose. Je jiva Ta jugat nahi, that means I have not found my purpose. I have not understood the method that he has described. Just above the tree of the word, I have to grow this tree. I have to bloom. So if I continue to live in ego, je jan jiva, ta jugat nahi, that means I have not understood the way. Kahe Nanak, Jivale ji. So Nanak is making a plea. Give us that eternal life. Jai Bhave ta rakh tui. Protect us as it pleases you. On that note, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.